What if one of the most beloved love stories in movie history never really ended? What if, 35 years later, the woman who taught us to believe in fairy tales came back, not to live happily ever after, but to find out what happily ever after really means? In 1990, a small romantic film changed Hollywood forever. Pretty Woman wasn't just another movie, it was a dream painted in red, white, and gold. It told the story of Vivian Ward, a free-spirited woman whose life took an unexpected turn when she met Edward Lewis, a wealthy businessman. But behind the designer dresses, luxury cars, and city lights, there was something deeper: hope, laughter, and the idea that love could happen to anyone, anywhere. Even in the unlikeliest of places. When audiences first saw Julia Roberts smile on that screen, the world seemed to pause. Her laugh, bright, real, and full of life, became a symbol of joy. Overnight, she wasn't just an actress. She became America's sweetheart. Pretty Woman wasn't only a love story between two people, it was a love story between Julia Roberts and her audience. Richard Gere brought quiet strength and mystery to Edward. But it was Julia who made the movie a cultural heartbeat. That film became a global hit. It earned hundreds of millions at the box office and captured hearts everywhere, from teenagers dreaming of romance to adults remembering their first love. The music, the fashion, the unforgettable shopping scene all became part of pop culture history. It wasn't just a story about transformation, it was about dignity, courage, and believing that you could write your own story. No matter where you came from. Over the years, Pretty Woman became more than a movie. It became a memory people carried with them. It was that comfort film you watched when life felt heavy, that reminder that kindness and confidence can change everything. And Julia Roberts became a symbol of that belief, proof that charm, grace, and authenticity never go out of style. But time moved on. Hollywood changed. Romantic comedies faded, replaced by superhero films and streaming series. Yet Pretty Woman never disappeared. It lived on, quietly waiting in the hearts of those who still believed in the magic of a chance encounter. For decades, fans wondered, what happened to Vivian Ward? Did she and Edward stay together? Did the fairy tale last beyond the credits? No one knew. Until now, because after 35 years, the story is ready for a second chance. For years, the world waited in silence, hoping, guessing, and dreaming. Pretty Woman had ended on that elevator kiss, the perfect fairy tale moment, but something about it felt unfinished. Fans kept asking, what happened next? Did Vivian and Edward really get there forever? Or did life, as it often does, turn that dream into something more complicated? In the decades that followed, rumors would rise and fall like the tides. Every few years, a whisper would appear in Hollywood. Pretty Woman 2 is happening. A journalist would hint at a secret script, or a studio insider would leak a supposed reunion. Fans flooded the internet with theories and mock posters. Some said it was set in Paris. Others imagined Vivian running her own fashion business, helping other women build new lives. But each time, the dream faded like a song you hear on the radio once and can never find again. Meanwhile, Julia Roberts moved on to build one of the most respected careers in cinema. She wasn't just the bright-eyed girl from Rodeo Drive anymore. She became an Oscar winner, a mother, and a symbol of timeless beauty. With films like Erin Brockovich and Eat, Pray, Love, she showed the world she didn't need a crown to be a queen. Yet no matter how far she went, audiences never stopped connecting her to Vivian, the role that started it all. The 2000s brought endless remakes and sequels. But Pretty Woman remained untouched, like a sacred story no one dared to rewrite. Perhaps the world wasn't ready. Perhaps Julia wasn't either. She once said in interviews that the original film was too perfect to revisit. And maybe she was right. How do you improve a fairy tale that already changed millions of hearts? Still, something began to shift in recent years. Hollywood started searching for meaning again, for stories about women growing, healing, and finding love beyond youth. And that's when the idea returned. What if Pretty Woman wasn't just a romance anymore? What if it became a reflection, a story about second chances, not just in love, but in life itself? So, when news broke that Julia Roberts would finally step back into Vivian's heels for Pretty Woman 2: A Second Chance, the world stopped again. After 3.5 decades, the laughter, the charm, the courage of that woman would return. Not to relive the past, but to remind us all that no matter how long it's been, love, hope, and transformation never truly fade. Asterisk 35 years later, the city of dreams glows again. The streets of Los Angeles look different now, brighter, faster, digital. But somewhere beneath the glass towers and neon lights, a familiar energy returns. Vivian Ward is back. Not the wide-eyed young woman who once stood on the corner of Hollywood Boulevard, but someone older, stronger, and wiser. Life has happened to her: love, loss, laughter, and lessons. Yet her spirit, that spark that once melted even the coldest hearts, still shines just as bright. Pretty Woman 2, A Second Chance isn't about rewriting the past. It's about rediscovering it. The story follows Vivian years after her whirlwind romance with Edward. Time has separated them. Life took them down different roads. Vivian has built a life of her own, a small fashion brand born from her belief that every woman deserves to feel seen, valued, and beautiful. She's no longer waiting for a prince. She's become her own kind of royalty, but fate, as it always does, finds its way back. When she returns to Los Angeles for a charity gala, old memories surface. The city feels like a mirror reflecting who she was and who she has become. And then there he is, Edward Lewis, older too, with silver in his hair and wisdom in his eyes. Their meeting isn't grand or glamorous. It's quiet, almost uncertain. Two souls, once tangled by love, now facing the question, can a story that ended long ago ever begin again? The film blends nostalgia with new meaning. It's filled with callbacks, the red dress, the laughter, the music, but this time they carry depth. It's not about fairy tales or rescues anymore. It's about understanding that love isn't a destination. It's a journey that changes with time. Vivian's smile still lights up the room, but it now hides the weight of everything she's lived through. Her story is no longer about being chosen, it's about choosing herself, and then daring to love again. The city becomes a metaphor, a place where old dreams meet new realities. Through soft lighting, quiet moments, and Julia Roberts' raw performance, Pretty Woman 2 becomes more than a sequel. It becomes a reflection on time, aging, and the courage it takes to start over. It tells us that fairy tales don't have to end when the credits roll, they can evolve. Just like the people who lived them. And as Vivian takes one last walk down Rodeo Drive, the world realizes she's not the same woman we met in 1990. She's something greater, proof that beauty, love, and second chances belong to those who never stop believing. Asterisk. There's something poetic about Julia Roberts returning as Vivian Ward after 35 years. It's not just a sequel, it's a full circle moment. The woman who once played a young dreamer searching for herself has now lived a lifetime, both on and off the screen. Time has given her depth, grace, and quiet confidence. And in Pretty Woman 2: A Second Chance, that experience becomes her greatest performance yet. When Julia steps into Vivian's shoes again, it's not nostalgia, it's truth. She carries the laughter of her past roles, the fire of her Oscar-winning triumphs, and the wisdom of someone who has lived through every shade of love and loss. Audiences don't just see a character return. They see a reflection of Julia herself, a woman who grew up in front of us, fell in love on screen, raised a family, and chose to return to the story that made her immortal. This film isn't about recreating old magic, it's about redefining it. In a world obsessed with youth, Julia reminds us that beauty doesn't fade. It evolves. Her eyes may show a few more years, but they also hold more stories. Every smile, every pause, every tear feels earned. She brings a raw humanity that only comes from a life fully lived. Pretty Woman 2 isn't just her comeback. It's her love letter to every woman who has ever been told that their best days are behind them, and Hollywood feels it. Critics are already calling her return the performance of a generation. Younger audiences see her as an icon of authenticity, while longtime fans feel as if an old friend has walked back into the room. The red carpet doesn't just celebrate a movie, it celebrates resilience, the kind that grows stronger with time, but the real magic lies beyond the screen. Julia's return as Vivian reminds us that second chances aren't just for characters, they're for all of us. Life doesn't always give us perfect endings, but it often gives us new beginnings if we're brave enough to take them. As the final scene fades and the familiar melody of "Oh, Pretty Woman" plays once more, it feels different now, softer, wiser, more human. Julia Roberts' comeback is more than a Hollywood event. It's a message, a reminder that no matter how much time passes, you can still rediscover your light, reclaim your story, and fall in love with life all over again. Because some fairy tales don't end, they simply grow up.